pain for a while will make it worse when you finally feel it. That's the wisdom of my story and today's story. Hi, I'm Shuchita and welcome back to the second episode of my podcast Reprogram, where we believe that you only need a brief pause or stop to relook and reprogram your entire life to find and achieve a fulfilling life for yourself. We talk about pain, we talk about struggles and all the dreadful emotions to be able to realize and find strength from our own life experiences here. Mental strength is all that it takes to overcome any of the life's complexities and challenges. Is the summary of it all. We can build mental strength. We can always build our own ability to bounce back from whatever life throws at us. Mental strength is built through the process of inner reflection, acceptance, and a little bit of planning. Yes, planning too. Plan for the what ifs and plans for the what next. Plans always don't work, but plans are important to give you purpose, a direction, a will, a desire to move on. And isn't it that's what is needed? A push, a nudge, a hand that can help you move on, or can help you, let's say, keep moving on. Sometimes, and almost most of the times, that push and that hand needs to be and should be your own. And such is my life story, the story of my struggles through pain and through failures and through numbing and rediscovering. Being a psychologist with all the tools and techniques in your kitty doesn't keep you safe from falling in the deep dark space of anxiety and fear. Our mind is a powerful entity and it can easily make you slip into darkness if you're not careful. And that's exactly what happened to me too. Recovering from a failed marriage, a relationship of 16 years, is not easy. It hits you hard. Well, no matter how toxic or pain-inducing your relationships are, letting go, accepting the red flags, the signs, or whatever you may want to call them, isn't easy. People say staying in a relationship is hard work. Making them work is hard work. But I can tell you through personal experience and my experience with clinical practice, leaving is hard work, is much harder. The leaving puts you in the face of your deepest, darkest fears. That's why probably people choose to continue staying in broken marriages, in empty places, because leaving is harder than staying. It was hard for me too. After all, it took me 10 years to face my darkest fear and accept that I struggled with the fear of abandonment, the fear of being left alone. It made me hold on to and try everything under and in my emotional resilience bag to do and find ways to navigate, compromise, adjust, call it whatever. I like to call it my skills of navigation, to be able to sail through the experiences of abuse, the trauma, the mood swings, the angry outbursts. I navigated all until I wasn't the only one who was supposed to or was being expected to navigate. Yet it was facing emotional fears that kept me on for years together, but there was more to it. And today, if I'm sharing, let me be honest to say that it was also facing my own pride. The questions of how can I fail? This was my choice. How can it not work? What will people think? How will I manage being called a failure? Will I still be able to tell people who come to me for therapy that I know how to get your relationship to work? Will they believe me? It took me years to find answers to these and a lot of other questions. And I probably am still struggling with some. But I still choose to leave. I left. and face my fears of abandonment. For I found strength in the eyes of a 2-year-old, looking at me, expecting me to give him a happy upbringing. I found strength in my own belief of what a parent should be, in my belief of how children should not be made to navigate their parents' moods and be made to fulfill the emotional void that the parent has, or be responsible for the trauma that their parents have gone through in their childhood. Children are meant to be protected. When God gives you a child, it's your responsibility to look after that soul. It's your job to nurture that soul. Yes, the soul that has its own journey too, but for when they grow up, if you choose to be a parent, you have to put your child first, no matter the price you have to pay. I worked through my struggles and my fear of abandonment, and trust me, while I found strength in my own value system, I worked hard through to come to this decision. Making choices, evaluating options, doing all the work that I had and I make my clients do in therapy. I did it all. I sat down, but then I worked through my decision of my choice, something that till date I'm still very confident of that I did right, and I have no regrets or repents ever. I've had difficult days, I've had worse nights, but never once have I ever regretted the decision that I made, because I made it, I thought through it, I made it in the most appropriate or the right or the correct, or whatever you may want to call it, in the right, in the manner. But with the struggle of making a decision also came the struggles of working through the emotions, of recognizing that there was trauma and there was a healing to do, of recognizing that I wasn't the same person I used to be. I was hurt. I also take on some toxic traits. I had newfound insecurities, newfound fears, newfound tolerance, or let's say sometimes no tolerance for people and their behavior or for situations. So, but for 2 years after making the choice, while I made sure that I worked through the day, posing to be strong, smiling, doing everything a professional should be, and I was a high-achieving professional and a mother, a strong-willed girl, a daughter needs to do, I cried at night. I lost hope. I felt unloved, lonely. Things hit me hard, but I kept them all within me, not realizing that I wasn't working through the pain. I was numbing it. Things hit me hard when the first time, out of nowhere, I experienced my first panic attack. I felt it hard. I felt it all. The physical pain, the heartache, the feeling of the world collapsing in that very moment. I ignored it at first, thinking I was stressed and overworked. And even though the awareness or the clinical knowledge allowed me to see and judge that probably it was a panic attack, I dismissed it. I thought I was too strong for a panic attack. It must have been nothing. I don't think it's going to happen again. But now, life had it another way. 15 days later, it hit me again. And this time, at night, while I was lying in bed. And it hit me harder than the one before. The psychologist in me did come to rescue when I was breaking apart. For even in that terrible emotional state, I was quick to realize what was happening to me and that it was an anxiety attack. So for at that time, I realized and I saw that it really wasn't the psychologist. It was the strength in me. It was my awareness, my knowledge, my ability to understand what was going on with me gave power to my mind. I saw that in that terrible emotional state of having an anxiety attack, of having that feeling that your entire world is collapsing in front of you and probably nothing's going to get better, I saw a part of me losing it, yet a part of my mind instructing the other one to hold on to it right there, to breathe deep, to let this moment pass. I gave myself instructions and I saw that, it's going to be fine, you'll be fine, you will be fine. I remember saying that to myself over and over. And after I recovered from that moment, I decided to not let this happen to me ever again. I decided to give myself 1 month and I decided to working through all the emotional pain that I was suppressing, numbing, to show the world that I was strong, to show myself that I was strong. I realized there was no strength in that. I decided that if I will not be able to work through my own trauma, through my own inner conflicts, my insecurities, I will reach out to another psychologist to help me through my panic attacks, my anxieties. I wasn't going to shy away from it. I won't resist this time. And I'll not pretend that I have it all together. So I worked on my emotional health this time. I did not just work on the decision, I worked on me and my emotions. On dealing with the pain I felt, I turned to journaling. I went easy on myself and others at work. I continued to deliver professionally, made my numbers, my targets, but I took a step back from interacting with people. I took a step back from interacting with people both in my personal life and in my professional work. I stopped direct client work. I avoided meetings. I avoided talking, even generally chit-chatting with people, because I know the kind of person I am. I naturally have people navigate towards me and talk about their problems and seek guidance. I wasn't ready for all that. I didn't want to do that. And I may have lost out on a lot of people back then, but I think it was all worth it. I was sure I wasn't ready to deal with anybody's emotions in my personal or professional life while I struggled with my own. I wanted to take care of myself, physically, emotionally. I wanted to laugh more. I was struggling to sleep at night. I had big time struggles in my sleep, which I mostly did. I would watch a funny movie or maybe talk to somebody who I trusted, who could make me laugh, but never get so serious. I wouldn't dwell on things or thoughts that made me sad. The dark night sky has the power to bring back the darkness in your life too. And I was sure that I'm not going to let that happen. I unfollowed a lot of social media handles that had sad quotes, love notes, heartaches. I followed more of things that when I read them uplifted my spirit. I worked and I created affirmations for myself. I did a lot of positive self-talk with myself, uplifting talk with not just myself but with my son too. And he returned it with full power. I have a 4-year-old who's emotionally so intelligent, and we both now appreciate each other, say I love you to each other at least 1,000 times during the day. And yes, that love can be overwhelming, but trust me, it's worth it. Did I have another episode? Yes, I knew the trigger for that moment, but I knew it, that why it was happening, and it wasn't a result of something that was in the past or something that I was suppressing. I was in a better place. I am in a better place, not as needy as before, but I continue to do and realize that this journey is going to be long. I came back to client work, for I'm confident that I have my issues resolved. Enough, at least, to not let them interfere in my client work. Enough for me to be able to learn my lessons and use them in my therapy, in my client work. I built and worked on my mental strength, and I continue to do so each day, for that wasn't the end of my struggles. At least I hope they were, but they weren't. Life had other plans. After a blow on my personal life came the blow on my professional and financial sense of security. Well, it's been very recent, but am I giving up? Oh no. Amidst the humiliation, the personal and professional betrayals by some of my closest aides and allies at work, I decided that I want to build on a life of my own dreams, a life where I feel a sense of security. And while there are struggles, more bad days than good days, I continue to build on my strength, for I'm not ready to give up. Not yet, not for a very long time. Days are hard, and sometimes nights are harder, but I am determined to rise and not let any person, thought or emotion pull me down. Momentarily they may, and it's human to falter. I faltered last night and gave in to negativity. But what matters at the end of the day is how quickly am I able to rise and gather myself up in that very moment of dejection and the next day. In the moments where it feels that there is no end to the road, there is no light after the tunnel, and maybe sometimes the end, what it feels like, is the end of hope and aspirations. But no, my friend, there is light at the end. And as they say, life loves a tough mind who can give a tough fight. So I decided to embrace this love-hate relationship, and I urge you to embrace this love-hate relationship with life along with me. Let's make it a win against all odds, against everything that came to break you but ended up making us stronger. And it's only possible with mental strength, for that allows you to identify what's not working, that you're falling and that you're giving into your fears. Your mind is powerful enough to, even if there's a part of you falling deep, it'll pull you out only if you equip it with tools and ways and insights and acceptance. You have the power to rise stronger. I have it. You have it. We all have it. So that's my story of will and struggle. Yet, I will continue to find and go after the happiness and abundance that I want and I desire. What's your story? I'd love to hear from you about what's your story of mental strength. What's been your wisdom through your own struggles? Would you write to me? Email me at the address that I've provided in the description. I'm waiting. And while I wait, I want to thank you for being here. I'm so glad you came by and gave me a listening ear. And I'm hoping that I'll see you again. You'll stick around until next Friday for another story of wisdom. And in the next episode, when we'll talk about another story of wisdom, I will also share certain steps on how you can get started on working on building your own mental strength in the safe space and the comfort of your own home in your personal and private space. So don't forget to follow and subscribe to my podcast and be here next Friday. With a wish and a hope for a lot of mental strength, for you and me, and gratitude in my heart. It's me signing off for today.